Net, the voice of Chester.
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though, ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, and born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, wish out you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your fucking head.
All right, good evening.
Good evening, bro. What's going on, man?
Man, I can't complain. It's been a while. We skipped a few weeks, huh?
Yeah, we skipped a few. Life been lifing.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
as community leaders and busy men and fathers, you know, life, you know, sometimes set priority on some things, man. And we had to, you know, do what's right, but now we back.
Absolutely. The narrative was out busy changing the narrative.
We was out doing the work of changing the narrative, right?
narrative.
Exactly. So we was doing the work that we talk about. See, sometimes doing the podcast, you also got to walk the walk and talk the talk. We just talk the talk here. But we was out there walking the walk.
We walk it how we talk it.
Yes, walk it how you talk it. Yeah. So what you want to talk about today, man?
Oh man, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, but you know what's heaviest on my heart right now.
Okay.
You know, the politics start.
Oh,
well, hold on,
man.
we gotta do our intro real quick. I'm Andrew Nelson,
And I'm Malcolm Yates.
and this is The Narrative.
The narrative, baby. Thank you.
So what really sits in my heart right now is the politics of it. We approaching, and I think by the time this airs, we're gonna be right smack dab in the beginning of petition season
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
This is a really good time to really start paying attention to what candidates are announcing for what, especially at the local level.
Because this is the actual time where the candidate themselves, right?
Yeah.
They're going to come to your door
Yeah.
asking for your support.
Right.
So when they ask and say, hey, can you sign this?
Right.
This
Answer.
Answer
Talk
the
to
door.
them.
And then here you go asking the questions, getting the opportunity to talk to the candidate one-on-one and take that time.
Absolutely.
Because if they want that signature, which they need,
Right.
they're going to take the time out and answer the questions that you have.
Right. And I just want to jump right to the point, man. This is your time for leverage, right? As the voter, as the individual constituent, this is the time, right? Quid pro quo comes right into effect right now, right? You want my signature for whatever this petition is that you need signed. And then furthermore, going forward, you want my vote.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the time where you get campaign contributions. Right. So I know we were speaking in the past about developing kind of like an agenda of what we need. Well, now this is the time to kind of put like that where the rubber meets the road. Right. Like
No,
this
you're
is
right.
where it got to go into effect.
No, you're
So,
right.
and another good thing I know we can speak on the local level. It's a lot of people running. Right. There's a lot of things going on.
Specifically, man, listen, because we region wide. So
Right.
you want to talk about here in Chester City
Right.
and
Delaware County.
Delaware County. You got your judges race
Yeah.
And
Here
then-
on the state level.
in the state level, you know, and then also you got your Philadelphia races too. So
right.
for those who live in Philly, you got your council and your mayor's race.
Yep.
Those who lives in Chester, you got
Yep.
your council and your mayor's race. And everyone that's here in Pennsylvania, you got your statewide judicial races, right?
Right.
And this is the time where you definitely have to make your voice heard
Right.
to those candidates right there in your face.
Right. And I would say, like, whatever issues are bothering you, man, it could be what's going on at the federal level with abortion rights. So, right, when you got judges going around, this is the time to start asking them judges, where do they stand on abortion rights?
Word.
Because really, right, even though Roe versus Wade got overturned, right, a lot of these things where now we're at the state level, it's going to be up to the state Supreme Court on how this stuff plays out.
No, you're right.
So we really got to rely heavier on state protections than what we've ever had because we've lost this blanket of federal protection.
No,
Right?
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And a good way to, I would say, to get your leverage, right, is host a petition party. So what you do is you gather up people from your block, people from your church,
Yep.
people from your community, whoever it is. Come on over, right? Have them over there. Invite the candidates over, and have a little bit of refreshments or whatever you like, and then you'll have your entire community be having access to that candidate, and that candidate can come over there and for your signature for having 10 to 15 folks there, you can start to have that quid pro quo with that candidate, right?
Absolutely.
What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for our education? What are you going to
Right.
do for our rights? And there, that candidate has to answer right there on the spot.
Absolutely. And they're going to be willing to and incentivized because you delivering a block of signatures that they need.
Absolutely.
Right.
I just talked to a candidate
Yeah.
who's looking for petition parties.
Absolutely.
You know, that's
so
something
this is
that's
the
blessed.
time for, if you ambitious, you want to be a ward leader, like this is the time to stand up.
Ward
right?
leader, committee
This is
members.
the time to make it shine.
This is where
Yep.
you come through. If you want to be active,
Right.
and you want to get involved in politics, and you always thought about a time to do it, this is the time, man. This is the time when you can go ahead and get those petitions and be a petition party host. You can be a petition leader and help those candidates go out there, because most of them need, small counties or small boroughs need about 10 to 15, but most of them need about 500 signatures.
Absolutely.
And if you can be able to deliver, saying, look, I can get you the whole east side, I can get you the whole west side, or I can get you.
I can fill a room with 50.
I can fill a
what I mean?
room.
That means something.
Man, that means that is gold.
And so I want to issue almost like a call to action, not just people who are interested, because maybe you said to yourself, man, I don't care nothing about politics your whole life.
Word.
But maybe you don't like the way things are going on right now, right? If you got that burning feeling inside of you that you don't like it and you're not happy, you the person that need to get involved too, because maybe you didn't want to and maybe you never thought about it, but maybe, just maybe, you might be the person that we need that could actually bring some kind of unity or bring some kind of motivation. Maybe it might be the speech that you give out of the raw passion in your heart that motivates 1,000 people to get up and make a change, right? So I want to issue that call to action, not just to people who've been thinking about it, because we don't need people that got political plans only,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
then that's how you get like a one-sided system.
You're right, and I will I would agree with that. I would rather hear from those who don't want anything to do with politics.
Yeah.
I want those who want to say, I just want to vote, make sure things is right, and go about my day, and ensure and hold you guys accountable. That's it. I
Because
don't
as long
really
as we
want to
got
hear.
diversity of thought, man, that's the real key.
Yeah, man, because having
Right.
a monolithic point of view sometimes when it comes down to certain things, and this sounds kind of contradictory because we want to have a monolithic point of view when we're trying to get an agenda done,
Yes,
but we need different perspectives in the room
when it's building that agenda.
when it's building the agenda, so we can
Absolutely.
see it from every side, we can hear it from every angle, and we can see it from every purview, because or vantage point, because a lot of times if we all are from the same situations, we're only going to get the same agreeing, and we only
Right.
going to, we don't know what we don't know,
Right.
And who's going to cover our blind side if we don't know we have blind sides,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, we don't want a melting pot ideology. We want a salad.
Amen.
We want everybody's.
What's that?
Didn't you say that
There you
before?
go. Yeah.
We
You
want
gotta give you the
everybody's
bell.
contributions to blend in together.
Word,
right?
man.
Instead of
Absolutely.
stewing into something different.
Absolutely, man.
Right. So yeah, I agree with that. I think that's where diversity of thought when we building, and then once we get a solid plan to move forward, that's when we close ranks, and then we only focused on the plan. We
Boom.
only focused on the agenda.
So when we come in and we get our top 3 or top 5 priorities, that's what we're gonna push
Right.
for.
And we're gonna only endorse candidates who
Who
are
have
in
those-
line with
boom.
our agenda.
Exactly.
Because that's appropriate political behavior. Talking about maturing politically.
That's right.
Right. So I think that's our only bet, right?
Yeah,
What do we
man.
need? We need support for small businesses, right? At the
Definitely.
local government.
Definitely.
We need involvement to where we can continue to, and I think they're making strides, and they've continued to make strides within our police department here.
Yeah.
I know in Chester, I'm not a whole lot sure of what's going on in Philadelphia Police Department. I know that my friends that I got in the Philadelphia Police Department, I think they dope.
Yeah.
But I don't keep a keen tune to those local politics
Yeah.
like I do
Yeah.
here in our
Yeah.
city. But I've noticed that they're trying to do all kind of programs to get people from the community involved, and I think this is the time, man. Take advantage of those programs. Right
This is
now,
the time,
we,
yeah.
we got the issues with police that we have because how often do we police our own communities, right?
Yeah.
And if we start policing our own communities with our own police, then maybe we won't be like F12,
Oh.
right? Because maybe we only feel like F12 because 12 is not really us, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
What do I know, man?
But what do you? But to see, and that brings us to our next point. If
Right.
we're ready to move on,
I am, and I think that this is going to be a good transition too.
Yeah, man, you talking about
It's a lot of violence.
having the
going on.
police community, have the police, police the community, or having
Yeah.
people to have the police look like the community, right? Mm-hmm. But then how do we explain Memphis? How do we explain the Tyree Nichols case?
Yeah, so first I want to
How?
start off by saying that was all across the board trash. Cop,
Big time.
DA, whoever,
Big time.
whatever, all across the board, it was trash what occurred.
Yeah, I struggle with this, man.
It hurt my heart,
and I
man.
have to be very, very transparent. It really bothered me learning that it was our own beating our own.
It hurt my heart.
It really did, and I didn't know how to quite process it, man. I really didn't know how to speak on it because, people like myself and like yourself, we are the trusted messengers for our community, right?
Yeah.
So we are constantly in these rooms asking for equity, right?
Right.
Right. So now,
Or
if you
shall I
and
say demanding it?
demanding it,
Right.
right? So we're demanding spots at the table. We're demanding equality. We are demanding equitable representation in every perspective, right?
Right.
So how can I go back to the room that I demanded that, hey, we need police that looks like us, from our community, went to our schools, and as of us,
Right.
to see this of these gentlemen from the community,
Right.
college educated,
Right.
from the same neighborhood,
Right.
doing the exact same thing we witnessed Rodney King happen
Right.
in 1993. I think
Yeah,
that's something like that.
92,
93.
yep. Yep.
I mean, we was children.
30 years later.
30 years later,
Right. And we still got the same
same
issues going
shit.
on. And the only difference is now them cops look like us, all 5 of them. And I mean literally like us, bro.
Literally, I had my fraternity bracelet on the other day, man, and it
messed
made me
up.
kind of want to take it off because it was like,
But no, what I'm gonna say about that is, right? So first of all, those cops were an example of them, not of the body.
not of the body,
Right? So to be clear, are there gonna be situations where you're gonna have bad apples?
Yes.
Right? They were some bad apples. And
They were bad
as,
apples.
As time told us, I'm sorry. As time ended up revealing to us, it was personal.
And that's the crazy thing. That it was personal.
And that was the first
bro.
thing when I saw it. Like, so first of all, my first reaction, it hurt my heart. I got a little sick to my stomach. I
Absolutely.
couldn't see it. And then as I processed it, I said, man, that got to be personal. There's no way that this is random, right?
Yeah, it couldn't be random.
No way.
It couldn't be
No
random.
way it was random.
Couldn't be random.
And then sure enough, it comes out that it's not random. It was personal. And I hate that. I really do.
And you use the shield to squash a personal beef.
Right. But what I don't want to do is I don't want this action of this individual utilizing the shield to squash his personal belief to like I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, right?
Nah.
Because at the end of the day, by and large, we are still by and large.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Affected all across the country
Yeah.
by police
Yeah.
who abuse their badge.
Yeah, he definitely
And
abused his badge.
I think that's the real issue, right? Now, do I believe wholeheartedly in my soul that balancing out the amount of cops and the policing that looks like us will make a significant difference? Yes.
Absolutely,
But-
absolutely.
But will it change the heart of a trash individual?
No.
No. So I don't want this issue to overshadow and be like, oh, well, see, it ain't never gonna work because look at them 5 cops. Because the truth of the matter is the only reason this stands out as an anomaly is because we only have about 12 cops and there's 5 of them there's some trash and them numbers look high.
Yeah.
But if we had 4,000 cops, right, and one of them went wrong, then it wouldn't be a black
Yeah.
cop issue.
Yeah.
It'd be a
Yeah.
that cop issue.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it really does seem like a personal beef while on duty, using resources to squash a domestic.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to minimize what it was because even the homies that his partners
Right.
that helped out, they're trash
and the
for that.
EMTs that stood
yeah,
back.
everybody
right?
that
I think
stood
it's
back.
telling of an overall larger problem, right? That bringing it back home that the system,
Yeah, that could
in
be-
spite of whoever is filling that shoes in the moment, the
That's right.
system does not value black lives.
It doesn't, or they hide behind the shield too much. Like it's too much going behind it of trying to breaking the wall, right?
Right.
So because of their position of being police officers, everyone has to fall in line.
Yeah.
And we've
At least
been
that's the thought.
That's the thought. And
Right.
we've been in places where you understand, all right, family business, you close it, or, let's fall in line until we get it together. But see, the thing is, things like that affect the community, we can't we can't stand by idle and think that's okay, right?
Right.
I don't see how those brothers could sit by and one, hold the ball down,
Right.
secondly, help tase and hit him. Like I'm not making excuses for maybe like the EMT or those people who was like, I don't know what to do because these dudes are vice. They have a high priority. They have a high rank into the police department. I just got to figure it out. I'm not going to hold excuse to that. But the fact is that, you know, they using a shield to do that, man,
it's trash.
It's just it's terrible, bro. It is. It's a straight abuse of power, and that's what most or some bad apples in the police department have been doing since the inception of being in police.
Right.
And
Arguably, the practice was founded on it.
exactly what it was founded on. But here's the thing, though, right? Why is it that those brothers got fired so quickly? Is it because of previous history?
Come on.
Is it because, oh, we seen this between with this case, so now they can act swiftly and fire them already? Or is it because they were black?
All right, so listen, I'm gonna tell you, I got two sides. I have two answers for this.
You know,
and it's gonna be okay because of the duality of life.
Yeah, because everything that
The process side of me says that because of where we're at in the culture today, that the political climate does not allow for you to wait with paid leave anymore.
Okay.
Right. So I would say in that way, let's count that as a win.
Okay.
Right. But to be 100% clear, my other side says that unequivocally is because they were black.
Wow. But you know what that does do now, right?
Right.
This sets the tone. This
does.
is the precedent now.
Right.
So
because now it says it don't matter who you are.
boom. So now, like, all right, before it was always, let's wait for the investigation. We got to figure it out. Then there's something happened,
Right.
Now that they allowed that, now that the unions have allowed these officers to get fired so quickly
Right.
and investigation to act so swiftly, now this has to be the precedent moving forward.
Right. If the crime is that egregious, then we
Right.
don't need an investigation. We're gonna act immediately.
So were they the sacrificial lamb
Arguably.
to better for better police reform when it comes down to abuse of power?
I mean, I feel like Chauvin, we got to give him that the sacrificial lamb.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we got to give it to him because I
Give it to
mean,
who?
Derek Chauvin or whatever.
Oh yeah. We do. I mean, he did get his just due.
Because I mean, ever since him, it's been really hard,
It's been hard,
right?
Yeah.
So-
So that was so
So
egregious.
that's a good thing, though.
That was
right?
so egregious. Yeah,
I think that
finally,
that's a step in the right direction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And it only took 260 something years.
Yeah, and it
right?
only took a 9-minute video of him sitting
Right.
with his hands in his pocket for people to actually say, "Yo, he needs to go to jail."
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the George Floyd I Can't Breathe Act that didn't pass.
I don't think
Right.
so. No.
Okay,
No, it's
still to this day,
it's still
right?
it's still going.
But there was a lot of other hate crime bills that passed through the same Congress.
like that.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that I was classifying it to understand everything right.
No, you hit it right, man. You definitely hit it right.
So that, and I think that's why the duality. I think it's both. I think that the process is working.
Okay.
In that now we're no longer making excuses to continue to pay cops while they get investigated.
No, they shouldn't.
Right. But at the same time, I think that the fact that those guys were black helped. And it's evident in because we still don't have any kind of protection acts at the congressional level, federally protecting black people against hate crimes.
Man.
Right. Especially in reference to police.
Wow.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe because that's counterintuitive to the overall process.
Yeah, you may be right.
I don't know.
I mean, you may be right about that.
It's hard to
man.
not question it though.
It is, and it's just I struggled for a while, bro. I really did. I struggled watching the video.
Yeah.
I struggled making a comment.
Yeah.
I struggled with it.
I haven't
with it
made
all.
any comments about it. This
Yeah.
is actually my first public speaking on it.
You and I both.
Because I also am not really interested in airing dirty laundry.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that's it is tough, man.
But
it is
but
tough.
at the same time, I got to be, we got to be accountable.
We do.
So
and,
if we speaking on any and everything else, we got to speak on this.
at all costs, you got to be accountable for your actions, man. And then I mean, just the fact that it was personal, bro.
Yeah, that's what makes it.
That's
really
the part
extremely
that's
egregious.
really crazy. Like,
But
it's
also
personal.
obvious because it wouldn't have happened if it
Yeah.
had not have been personal.
Yeah, old head always said, man, if you never, and this is just some old head man talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said to me, he said, Mount, if you ever want to know why someone don't like you, it's because it got to be domestic. Like if you don't know why this man don't like you,
Right.
it's because you may have been you may have the same girlfriend,
Yeah.
or you talk to someone
Something like that,
Yeah.
right.
So
That's wisdom.
That's wisdom. So
Yeah.
So sometimes when you walk in the room, you just don't know, like, damn,
Because you ain't holding that in there for nothing.
yeah, like, and sometimes you don't even know the bull, right?
Right. Oh, don't I know it? People will be in competition with you and you don't even know
You
they're
don't
in
even know
competition.
that you're in competition with someone, and you're
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, you know me, but I don't know you. But where's this funny energy coming from? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, man.
I know that unfortunately very well.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. And so going to that though, when you start talking about, Congress not really passing laws and not doing what they're supposed to do. Here's a flip side in some politics that we were just discussing earlier about the House, the Congress has voted one of our Muslim black congresswomen out of the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Right.
And they said that they did that because her being Muslim, they didn't quite trust that she can be diplomatic in international affairs when it comes down to Islamic countries and things like that.
Islamic countries. That language matters to me.
It does.
Because I had pulled up the definition of xenophobia. A dislike or a prejudice against people from other countries.
Yeah, and this is honestly just they're just being really petty and targeting them because she was part of this joint called the Squad back back in 2018, where they were coming in and making sure that Congress is progressive and holding some people to accountability and making sure that there's some real diversity into Congress. And now that the Speaker of the House and now that Congress they have the majority, now they are just going in and doing a whole bunch of
Reorganization.
reorganizing, but they're being real petty about it, right? They're being vindictive about some of these things.
Now, is it petty and vindictive, or are they being strategic?
Honestly, see, it depends on how you view things, the duality of things. And see, my gift and my curse is all we can see the side of everyone. I can see everyone's side and the point of view of why they do things, right? So if you're on that side of things and you're trying to push through your agenda, of course, that's strategic as heck. I mean, that is one of the most strategic moves because the Republicans move at the long ball. They have a long vision and they do strategic things and they stay on course and they stay on code and they stay apart to make sure that long ball they're going to achieve it, right? But when you're on the opposite end, of course it's a little vindictive, of course it's petty,
Right.
of course it's xenophobic, right? And of course it's I want to say a little racist. So like I don't know. I mean, just because both exist. It was strategic on their end and racist on our end. I mean, on their end. So how do you or what do we do as in government when we have the majority acting as such?
Well, so the majority control.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the key thing. Majority control through different feats like redlining and manipulation, and you have it. What do? Well, what has happened in history? In history, the only thing we've been able to do to combat against this is the people need to get together, build successful coalitions, and flip the house in 2 years. Right?
Got to.
That's the only option we have.
Got to.
And simply put, if we don't, then we'll continue to see an approach in the direction that we don't like.
Because whether we know it or not, or you guys know it or not, they are prepping the ticket of, and maybe this is a little premature, but this is what I've been hearing.
DeSantis?
Not even DeSantis.
Okay.
DJT, number 45, with Marjorie Taylor Greene as his VP. Now, you and I both know how the other side, or let's just say,
But that's just
the
for
other side of
extreme.
America like to, exactly. She's very, very extreme.
Right.
And feel however you feel about 45, he is not as extreme, but he blows the extremist whistle.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm trying to be as trying to be as clear cut as possible. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, and he'll do things that's very, very whistleblowing, and very, very extreme, and very, very counterproductive to us. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But she does things out in the open.
Right.
So
His alliance with her
yeah,
shows that, hey, I'm already aware that the base that I'm looking to appeal to is ultra conservative, and not even I am conservative enough.
so
That's the
he's
problem.
bringing so he's
the
bringing on. She's the right wing of the right wing.
Right.
You dig what I'm
Right.
saying?
So conservative squared.
So now if that's the ticket, bro, and he already empowered, let's say, some of the right wing extremists, imagine having their champion as their vice president.
Right.
So get prepared. We got to keep this in mind. So in 2 years, we got to really get on of things. You know, we got to get it together because it's coming.
Yeah, but I also think that everybody else who's not on the conservative square
Yeah.
are going to be backing Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, they will be, because the conservative folks, right, wants to be more conservative, right? And DeSantis is I'm gonna call him Trump Junior, but not as Trumpish, if that makes any sense.
Oh,
right?
no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's going to appeal to his base, which is what 100% makes him Trump.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I don't think his politics in general have ambitions to become conservative squared. I think he's just conservative.
He's just conservative, but the strategy behind it, because that's my thing. Like I told you, I'm a political strategist, man, and his strategy is to whistle blow for those extremists to come help get those votes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But he's also making sure that those who are conservative, those traditional conservatives, are comfortable enough to say, all right, he's not as bad, right? So he'll throw out a couple things, just like we were talking about the refusal to teach Black history in Florida courses.
Right. Let's touch on that, too.
And he says something like it's anti-woke.
Right.
He's on an anti-woke agenda.
Yep.
I do feel like sometimes we get overly woke. I can say that. I'm not a leftist. I'm damn sure not a rightist.
Right.
I'm a centrist, right?
Right.
My name is Malcolm because I'm in the middle, and that's how
Right.
it is always going to be. I'm in the
Right.
middle of things, and he says that one of the reasons why he's not is because some of the things inside of it is an indoctrination to the curriculum,
Right.
and it doesn't quite teaches Black history the way he feels that's of value.
Right. It's not just Black history.
It's not.
And I think that's kind of what makes me sting a little bit, right?
Yeah, man, because it comes with, it feels like, you a lot of folks and a lot of times our plight, our issues are always used as the work mule.
Right.
So-
Or the glue. That would maybe
like to slide
bind
it through.
together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, don't water down some of the things that we do for an issue that is going to continuously be here, right? So I'm
Right.
on this board, and I'm on this board, and we were talking about, how should we do DE&I, right? And should DE&I look in different phases? Should we add different things in it, and instead of just race equity?
Right.
And my pushback to it was, over the last few years, we are being more inclusive, which is great. But what's happening here is, if you look at things, it's always something new to be included every time. But over the span of humanity, there's always been one pressing issue: race.
Right.
And race equity has always and will always play a part of anything that we do. So no matter whether you put in, gender equality, whether you put into, sexual equality, or whether you put in, whatever the new thing is, right? Whatever the new thing that we're trying to fight equality for, is always going to be second tier to race.
I agree with that 100%. Our big brother, Dr. Claude Anderson, he wrote in several of his books and white papers that he's released, speaking on how America has managed to take every diversity struggle, rolled it and packaged it into one, thus making us competitors. Right? Because that's the key. They've put us in a position where we got to compete now for the said equity against every struggle of diversity, when in fact, all of this stuff got passed through off of the backs of the inequalities and the damaging effects of laws that were race driven.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And now we have to compete for the legislative, or let's not call it let's not call it reparations, but the legislative band-aids, right? That were implemented. We're now competing for that box of band-aids.
No, you're right.
Because that's effectively what's happening.
That's all.
That's where my heartburn comes in, because what I've noticed is every other diverse group, whether it be, every other let's call it group competing for diversity. Let's call it that. So that way we're all on. Every other group competing for these diversity options, like Chinese, like Spanish-speaking individuals, like LGBTQ, or like black or brown in general, right? Out of all four of them together, right? They all compete for the same body, but they're all organized together collectively, right?
Within it, yep.
Chinese communities.
Asian,
Well, so I don't want to separate. Like, I want to make sure specifically on this because, I guess I could say Asian, but that includes everybody. But actually, you know what? That makes the point stronger because now that includes Indian population. But what I've noticed is that with a lot of the Asian populations that are not Indian, they kind of like collectively work together. Like maybe like you might see like a Chinatown and a group of Thai settlers and all, like all still in the same area. So. But just ultimately, every other diverse group, every other group competing for these diversities, they work together collectively to advance their own individual issues, right? We make coalitions, and it's our issues that are the meat and potatoes of the legislation.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And we lack the infrastructure to be able to work together, so we integrate our problems, but we don't have a community to facilitate the resources once we get these solutions, so we lose them. We in turn lose all these resources because all of those collective groups that work together work together and overpower our power.
You know what though? I'm gonna push back on that.
Okay.
And I think it's not that we lack the infrastructure. I think we lack having elected members who have the courage to just say, this is the issue that I'm pushing forward. I think politicians, some of them, lack the intestinal fortitude to say, I know this is just a race issue or a black issue, and I'm pushing it forward. That's it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they get scared. Well, what happens is because if I just push this black issue through, then this group is going to feel this way. I don't know if this group is going to be able to agree with it, or I don't know if I can get the votes.
But the Asian community ain't saying that, and the LGBT community ain't saying that, and the Hispanic Latino community ain't saying that. So.
They not saying that
pushback,
because you know
but
why?
I don't think your pushback is pushback.
You know why?
I think you really agree with me.
I'm agreeing with you
and
saying.
You're saying that we don't have the infrastructure because if the politician is not pushing our issue, but it's our politician, we don't have infrastructure.
Or
that's a weak link.
You're right, because it's always okay for everyone else's issue to get bipartisan, all the vote support. But once you single out that is an African American issue.
Right now, it can't be about race.
Then it can't be about race.
And then that's why a lot of the laws had impact versus intent built into them.
But which also makes the community and African American community so upset when all these other policies get pushed through so rapidly.
Right.
When we've been fighting for it so long.
Right.
So it's like, all right, why everything? What's the joint back in the 60s that they did that made sure that we were able to go to college and they gave us a fair shot? I'm forgetting the name. I've been trying to think about it for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, you talking about affirmative action?
Affirmative action, right? So affirmative action was strictly to help out the African American community, right?
sure.
But the biggest people, the people who got the biggest impact from it wasn't just African Americans.
Right.
It was also
Women.
right? And was also women of all races, which diluted, honestly, the intent of the bill.
I agree.
And that's kind of been the way things have been since bills has been put in.
Let's call it the American way. That's the American
the
way.
American way.
That's the way it's been.
Oh.
Let's utilize the black people as the motivation and the meat and potatoes of the legislation, but then let's create competitors of all the diverse group against the African Americans.
So go ahead and forge this. Go ahead and forge this dredge this way through the forest, right? Go ahead and clear out the way. Go ahead and get us up the mountain, and as soon as I can see that we can take it over,
Right.
Thank you. Steps to the side, and everyone else gets in.
Right. And then, oh, by the way, and we won't teach the history as is.
Oh, so all that time climbing up the mountain, right? We're not going to talk about all the things that you did to get up there, right?
Nor are we going to talk about all of the things that was done to kick you back down the mountain as you was climbing.
And the leaders that fought, and the things that and the obstacles you had to overcome.
Right. And then my justification, because I don't want to put it in there, I'm going to roll in a issue of a different diverse population group. And I'm going to use that as my justification as to why I'm not going to pass the whole thing. Right?
Wow.
I don't want any of this in the curriculum because it is one piece.
Wow.
I wonder why Ron DeSantis, if his issue was what he called, I think he referred to it as like a Trojan horse for indoctrination.
Yes.
I wonder why he didn't call it out. Why did he just say, hey, I'm trying to stop this whole thing and make it a blanket CRT thing instead of calling out the actual issue that he had publicly? I wonder if it's because the individual group that he had the issue with has more political clout in this country than the African Americans that.
And what's crazy is even with that group, it's still a race issue inside that group.
For sure.
So that's why I say race always will be an issue of equity or diversity throughout the entire span of human history.
It will.
And we can never, ever water it down. We can never, ever conflate it. We can't, it's the truth. No matter what race it is, it's always going to be a racial issue no matter what.
Right.
So that always has to be a topic, and we have to find a way where members feel comfortable, or find members who don't give one damn about how it looks to others.
Right.
And get the agenda pushed forward. Because honestly, we continuously are in the same situation, because when we get in office, we get scared about what others will think.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
or hey, can I get reelected if I do this?
Right.
And I say this out loud, and I said this to all my friends. I said, if I ever get elected, I don't care if it's for 1 year, 1 term, or 50 terms. It's going to happen.
Right.
I'm going to make the change happen as much as I can, because I'm not going to be one of those who get in and then start losing sight.
Right.
So I don't know if I don't know where that's going to lead me, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm just walking the direction the Lord illuminates.
Absolutely.
But if that's it, at least you're going to say, yo, Malk was in there, and it may have been about 35 seconds,
Right.
but he made the impact that he needed to make.
For sure.
So I want to challenge a lot of my friends. I want to challenge a lot of you out there to hold true. And going back to what we were saying, it's petition season, bro.
Right.
And
This
call
is
your
the time.
candidates out. This is the time. Candidates, if you want to do something, do it. If that's what you're going to stand on it the entire way.
Yeah.
You got to stand on it the entire way, and make history. Because today, what was today? February, so it's Black History Month, right?
It is.
And we got to be a part of Black history. So we're going to talking about Black history and bringing it a little highlight. The Super Bowl. I see my man P over here got the Eagles on.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. And,
Right.
and in Kansas City, they got a brother on their team too.
They sure do.
And guess what we got
both
for
of
the
them
very
teams-
first time? We got 2 starting
Right.
Black quarterbacks
Right.
in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl. One of them gonna win.
Hey, listen, as we in
And
a
don't we got a
win-win.
black woman coach?
Oh yeah,
and then like
right.
it's an Asian
That's
woman
right.
coach.
There's
or
a lot of
something like that.
diversity in this, man. There's a lot of diversity which says, look, no matter how you spill it, no matter how you put it, everyone is here to stay. So let's make it a collective unit, man.
Right.
And let's do that.
You hear that, Roger?
Make it a
Collective, diverse unit.
Because honestly, I do feel like they were really trying to make it a Joe Burrow / who was on the other side, or Josh Allen show, you know, because they want the face of the NFL to continue to be that.
Right.
And it shouldn't be a script. It shouldn't be a push. Whoever's the one that's winning, let them win. So congratulations to Jalen. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes, man. Yep. Both y'all going to represent and do well. I have no part in this race. I'm going to speak firmly as a 3-decade-long Giants fan, but as a West Philadelphia native, I do want the Birds to win. So all you Eagles fans out there, I know it really stings your ears to say I'm rooting for you guys, and it hurts me to say, but I got to be on record and say, look, man, I'm from West Philly, bro. Listen, go Birds, all right? Go Birds. You heard it. Go Birds. Anyway, so what's next, bro? What's next on the?
I mean, I think the only thing we really didn't cover is it's a bunch of violence going on, man. Like,
so yeah. I had a conversation this morning, right, about the violence in our schools.
Yeah.
And every time we turn on the TV or the social media, you know, we seeing our children being violent in schools, right? From all the fights at Chichester High to the shooting in Middletown at a basketball game to the girl that fought that teacher on social media and broke her leg.
Yeah.
And then those 2 boys beating down that 9-year-old girl on the bus. Like, what is up with our kids and violence, for one? And the conversation that I had was, is it the kids or is it the parents?
I mean, so it's hard to blame either entity fully, right?
I don't know.
Well, because kids do what they showed, not what they told, right? And when we're in the information age, access, right? Maybe your kid might not have the device, but somebody in their class do, right? And to be able to control what they have access to view and consume, understand there's a lot of attacks going on, man.
It is a lot.
TikTok is not
TikTok
in any
is
kind of way.
It's raising our kids.
Right. It's raising our kids, and it's not designed to raise our kids the right way.
No,
right.
You're right.
And then we got these phones that just continuously pull and ping on their attention span, and we got programming, whatever they watching.
Man,
you know, it's all kind of like little subtle programming on TV that occurs. So it's like the country, the world, we sick right now. We got a lot of negative energy going on.
We do, and I agree.
And I think that this is as a result of that, man.
See, but I also feel like, yo, as parents, we have to do better.
I agree with that.
We have to do
We
better.
have to parent.
You got to parent. Like,
Parents
listen,
want to be friends.
You can't be your homie,
right?
And you can't allow the tablet to raise your child.
That's a fact.
You know, I know it's a convenience. I knew. Trust me, I am a big offender of that. You know, but when I noticed I am becoming a little bit egregious with the tablet time, we step up.
Yeah.
We pull it back,
and I got hardline controls in place because I forget.
Yeah, because
so
we
it gets
forget.
turned off at the router.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, they on schedules.
Word,
because I'm gonna forget.
We do, because like I said, we said before, life be life, and
life be life.
Things get in the way, and we're trying to be one. We're holding multiple hats, doing multiple things, and I know parents out there have multiple responsibilities, having multiple kids, and it's hard, right? But guess what? You signed up for that.
That's a fact.
We signed up for it.
Right.
When you said, hey, babe, I'm pregnant, or what we gonna do, or 9 months later at the delivery room, you signed up for this.
Or let's go a little bit before that. Take them pants off. That's where you really signed up at, right? Like, that's where it starts.
Man, it does sign up there. But you know, we make a conscious decision to have children.
Yeah.
But then when it's time to parent, we like, oh, I'm tired. Oh,
right.
No, we can't do that. So now we want to sit there and not parent our kids and then allow the teachers to do it, and then when a teacher tries to parent your child or at least instill some discipline, it's, why are you talking to my child like that?
Right.
Because you not.
Right.
I can't lie, bro. If that little girl or a student like that happened to me as a teacher, I'll be one of the teachers that's having a problem, because you're not going to I'm not going to, one, I don't have an adults disrespect me. So darn sure I'm not going to have a student disrespect
Right,
me.
for sure.
Right?
Right.
So then on top of that, there's no excuse for your child to be sitting there challenging an adult.
Right.
Point blank, period. Definitely adult that's in a class that's teaching her. And I see it one way. I don't see it any other way. I don't see there's any other reason or excuse, because viewing that, barring the teacher was disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. Most teachers aren't disrespectful, right? Most teachers come in to do their job. Some do it well, some do it terribly. But
Right.
they're not out there disrespecting your kid unless your child is one of those kids that causes some type of issues, right? So what do we do? It was something in the news earlier that Delaware County is bringing back a behavioral health school, like a Glen Mills. And I see people protesting it. And, my controversial opinion on that is behavioral schools are necessary. Juvenile behavioral schools are necessary, because I went to a boarding school, right? I went to a military boarding school from grades 5 through 12. 90% of the school were African American. They either came from Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, or Harrisburg. We're in rural Pennsylvania. Now you have these kids now under the watch of house parents who's from rural Pennsylvania. How do you get these children in line who, one, may have been sent off because they have a disciplinary issue?
Right. It's
How
hard.
how do you have a order when you as a parent, mom and dad, had to send your child to someone else because they have behavioral problems?
Right.
Now, my school wasn't a behavioral problem school, but you got to collect them
Because it
kids.
was military.
Yeah, exactly. So
send them there, they'll get them straight.
boom. So what do you do?
Right. It's hard, bro, because even for a parent at home, what do you do, right?
What do you do?
You got a child in your house that's 11 that want to do some screwed up stuff. You could have loved and taught your child and worked with them, but at the end of the day, they people, man.
They are.
They got the same free will that God gave you as an adult,
So right.
with a brain that's underdeveloped.
So right.
So it's hard.
So
man.
so
What do
if
do?
you
That's a
can't
good
do
question.
it, right?
Yeah.
The schools can't do it.
Yeah.
Then who does it?
And in that case, it got to be a professional. Who's
So a
trained with this.
professional who's trained to do it. So now with these behavioral schools is now that we have the information, the education, the occupation, now that we understand what's good and what's bad when it comes down to behavioral schools, why can't we reinstitute one?
I agree.
Because now your child, who you can't discipline, that the schools can't discipline, now is interrupting my child,
Right.
or other people's children,
Right.
who are trying to do something. And Lord forbid they do something bad to them. Now you upset because this kid who can't be controlled by their parents or the neighborhood or the community, now victimizing your children. But
Like in that video.
behavioral schools are bad. Really? Because like you said, every kid got free will. No matter what you put into them, no matter how much you instill discipline, sometimes some children or some people just do things the way they want to do it. So where's the reform at for it?
Right. I agree.
I think people who have a negative connotation towards some things like that is because they never really been in it.
Right.
And I've been in it, and I've been in cottages, and I've been in rooms of some dudes, man, where you be like, yo, this little brother, man, sheesh. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely, I do. So I didn't have it, of course, in school, but I joined the Marine Corps after school, so I had it in that sense. And man, you meet people from all walks of life, man.
Yeah.
I met people who had never seen black people before. I met people who
crazy.
had never been to the dentist before.
Wow.
Right. Imagine going your whole life. You 20 years old. You joined the Marine Corps. Your first time going to the dentist was at boot camp.
Sheesh.
That's the reality of some places that I had. I met people that was like, yo, I grew up in a town with 250 people. What?
Your school, you had 250 people in your senior class. I didn't, but that's
I
crazy.
did.
I had 23.
Yeah, my senior class was 250.
23, class of
Yeah.
1999.
Like, and it's like what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is your town's population.
Wow.
So you meet people from all walks of life, man. I met people. So, real quick story. I know we got to end real quick. I was at boot camp with a gentleman named Recruit Rahman. He was an African, right? His English was not that great. His recruiter told him he was going to a job training, man. He had no clue he was joining the military.
Yo, you talk about a rude awakening,
Rude.
and then you get people yelling at you. You on this bus, like you said.
And not just any branch of the military, but the Marine Corps.
One of the hardest.
Bro,
Wow.
Ramen got trashed regularly, bro.
Yo, and he couldn't speak back. Like, oh man, it had to be rough.
Yeah, if you out there, you ever see this show, Ramen, man, reach out to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yo,
That's
that was a
crazy.
hilarious time, though. He was my rack mate to the right
Oh man,
when I first got to boot camp, man.
Oh,
it was a
man.
hilarious time. Huh? He did. Yep, he made it.
that's what's up.
So during the time I went to boot camp, you had to be really, like, something had to really be wrong to get dropped because I went, during the war, right? So that time, they wasn't really letting nobody go.
Oh yeah,
You know, like once you there and you qualified,
Yeah.
the fastest way off the island is graduation. They told you that. You can get dropped, but it's gonna guarantee that your stay gonna be longer. You really want to get out of here, graduate.
Wow,
That's the shortest route
wow,
across that parade deck.
wow.
It's all psychological, bro.
Man, that's tough.
But anyway, so you meet people from all walks of life, man. Ramen was a refugee.
Man.
You know what I mean? Came to America looking for a better life.
Well,
He found that recruiter who sent him to job training.
that's job training, bro. I mean, listen. Look. The military is job training, and you
It
guys, if you make it out, you come out with a great resume and great opportunities, man. And that's something that maybe we should start sending these kids too. I don't listen. If you don't want to go
for the extreme cases, I guess it's worth looking into.
I don't want to.
But
be
really, what you got to do
extremist,
is you got to find suitable roles.
man.
Right? It's all about putting the right asses in the right seats. Because it's
Facts.
real easy to say, like, all right, we got this problem. Let's send them to the military. But what happens when you send too many problems to the military, then you start hearing that the military got problems. And then people are like, oh, how you do this? You in the military. I mean, because you put bad inputs, right? You can't put bad inputs into a regular process and expect positive to come out. Like you trying to create something out of nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? And that's not the way it works.
No.
The Marine Corps don't change you. It amplifies who you are.
That's true. That's true.
That's all it do. It
told
put you
you.
under pressure.
Listen.
And what you gonna do? How you gonna respond?
And that's true. And I can say that's true because again, I'm a product of a Marine Corps
Yeah, you
son.
know.
I'm a son of a Marine
Yep.
Corps veteran. Vietnam 2 times. So he went there and came back
2 times.
2
bro.
times. He said I got sent home and I went back.
Right.
I said, man, you something special.
Right.
I was scared of my father till this dying day.
I believe it.
5'4", 140 pounds.
Right.
I'm 6'1".
Hard as nails, though.
You know,
them
oh,
Vietnam
man,
vets,
dog,
they was
listen,
different, bro.
man, he was different.
Them
And
Vietnam vets,
and
different.
he
I got
raised
mad
us
respect for
differently.
them.
He raised
And
us
then
differently.
They got drafted. Imagine living about your
17.
life and somebody comes to you and says, "Yeah,
Son, pack your bags. You going to Vietnam." What? Man, listen, they had a rough life, bro. I mean, they was real. You talking about being real. 17.
right."
You getting flown over to Vietnam,
Right.
bruh.
Right.
Man.
They shortened boot camp to get more graduates, to get more boots on the deck.
Show. Salute to that generation.
Salute to them. And then they came back home and got spit on and called baby.
Oh, that's why he
killers.
didn't want me to
And
go
oh,
to
by
them.
the way, guess who the vast majority of people that got drafted was?
What's that?
Black
Black
and
men.
brown people.
You right.
Poor people. That's the real thing, right? Poor people.
Poor
Because it
people.
was poor
It
white
was-
people.
it was- yup.
Poor black people. But if you had the resources, you could draft dodge. You could.
Yeah,
get
you could
removed.
yeah.
There was a lot of things that went on if you had resources, but if you lacked resources,
You lacked the
you was
resources,
going
you
or
had to
going
go.
to jail.
Because you thought that also was a way to improve your resources coming home, right? Because that's what they thought. You can go,
Maybe
get out,
some
get
of
some
them.
things and come
I
back.
think maybe some of
You'll
them
be
thought
able to
that.
get the respect of your community. You'll be
Yeah.
able to you get the jobs that you went to school, went to basic training for.
But I also think that the Korean War that happened very shortly before that, maybe
That's
10
right.
or 12 years, was
That's
a
right.
large example in our community that that's not the case.
Man.
Because them boys came home and they was called niggas because this was before the civil rights legislation,
Bro,
right? Like, so let's keep that in mind.
You listen. I do know.
Imagine getting off the bus from the Korean War.
I have generations of men in my family. From my uncle went to Desert Storm. My
Yeah.
father was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
My grandfather was in Korea
Yep.
during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yep.
So like me and my brother are the only two that did not go.
Right.
Because when my father went back, he said, "I'm be damned.
He hit y'all with the whole.
I'll be damned if you go to the
Dad
military."
did that, so hopefully you don't have to
Facts.
go through that.
And that's why
That's what
he
I
said
tell them.
we went to military school, right? Did the JROTC, but as soon as it was time when those Army recruiters came in 12th grade, he said, "Nah, you're
Right.
not going."
Right,
Man,
right.
so yeah,
All right. It was another good show, man.
yeah, man. We wrapping this one up. It's been a while, man. We wanted to make sure we give you people some good content, give the folks some great conversation, and we'll be back next week, man.
All right.
My name Malcolm Yates.
And I'm Andrew Nelson.
It's the narrative.
This is my heritage, all I'm inheriting. Money and power.